Oh my God, we're back. Let's go. It's been 3 weeks. All right, quiet down, quiet down. It's been 3 very long weeks since I've been able to last stream, and by gum, it feels good to be here. So I hope you guys all have been doing okay. Let me make sure that the live has sound on it. Uh oh, does it? Maybe it doesn't. Oh, it does. Look at me doing things right. Okay. All right, we're good on Twitch. Let's check ourselves out on the YouTube. If it lets me. I'm not sure if I've never tried to look on YouTube yet. Should be live. It is live. Very good. Is there sound?
Should be live.
There's sound. Yay. Sweet. Let's go. Shout out to Tootie for being here. Yay. Thank you so much. I'm going to keep that up. Oh, I can see your chat here. What? Wow. Wow. This is amazing. So I'm just going to wait just a few seconds. 1, 2, 3. I'm really, really excited for this new series. It's going to be absolutely amazing. I think I have all my cards in a row for now anyway. I think I do. So yeah, welcome back. Welcome back. It's been a very weird, very long, like I said, 2 or 3 weeks since our last project. It's been really, really hard to figure out what my next project's going to be, something that I really am anticipating something just a little bit more challenging than what I did last, which was the at. It was a model kit that we got from Bandai Namco. And it's just a plain plastic at. It was very, like I said, fairly easy to build. Didn't think it was going to be that easy. And we actually turned it into this. So it was built piece by piece, brick by brick, and then we added some detail to it, which is my favorite part about doing these projects, is adding the detail to them. So while it was a very fun project to do, it was a little bit too easy. So yeah, there's that. First live stream I've watched in a while. Well, you picked the right one, my friend. You picked the right one. I love it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you everybody who's showing up. So yeah, so that was the last project. And let's go on to our new project. Which again, if you guys have any suggestions as to what should be next, what I should build next, I was actually thinking about building a Gundam, just because there's probably a little bit more challenge in it. But I don't know shit about Gundams. I know everything about Star Wars. Well, not everything, but I know Star Wars. I know toys. I know cartoons, obviously. I don't know Gundam, but you know, I'm just up for the challenge. But if you guys have any suggestions on the next thing I can build, let me know. All right, let's see if I can actually share screen here, because I do have some slides for you guys. And now they're not in slide form just yet, but I wanted to introduce our very next series, Series 3, the third series of this podcast. So I wanted to do something a little bit different, since we didn't have what I wanted as far as a model kit project is concerned. I wanted to actually do an introspective, I suppose, case study on Homer Simpson. The Simpsons is one of my favorite cartoons. It has been since probably since it came out, since I was about 5 or 6 years old. I'll never forget the moment that I was introduced to The Simpsons. My dad had come home from Tracy Ullman's house. He was an electrician, and at the time he worked in Beverly Hills and Westwood and all the areas and hills where all the famous people lived. So he came home with his VHS tape that said The Simpsons on it, and it was yellow, and it was the very first episode, the pilot episode. It was Simpsons roasting on an open fire, and it was on VHS. It was a Christmas episode, and we wore that thing to death. I can't imagine how much it would actually be right now if we actually had it still, but that was my Simpsons intro. And yeah, I've been a fan till this day. Now, like most diehard Simpsons fans, I have not been able to catch a lot of the last seasons for a couple reasons. A lot of the original voices are not available anymore because they passed on. It's kind of heartbreaking to watch an episode where Marge kind of sounds like she's deteriorating. It's really tough. It's really tough. You know, you understand that because um, they're growing old. It just makes you feel like, oh no, now I gotta face the fact that I'm growing on. Not to mention the episodes, the ones that I have seen, they don't grasp and they don't hold the same spaghetti noodle to the wall the way they used to. You know. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about one of my absolute favorite episodes here. It's probably a favorite for a lot of people, to be honest. And it is the homophobia episode, the John Waters episode, where it's one of the very first times in the beginning of the series where you get to kind of see Homer be a legitimate asshole. Not only does he portray a lot of homophobia in this episode, but you kind of see him do it unapologetically. And, you know, and we'll get into it. While it does sort of come from ignorance, there's a lot of things that would shouldn't have been acceptable back then in the 90s, but definitely wouldn't have been acceptable now. So it's going to be it's going to be a fun thing to get into. But before I get into it, this episode is about John Waters. If you guys don't know anything about John Waters, he is a real man. He does exist in real life, and he's actually one of the most genius independent filmmakers of all time, really. He started a lot of his work in the 1970s. And again, it was independent, very cult-like films. So he was able to just do whatever he wanted in them. A lot of them, if not most of them, portrayed drag queens and portrayed gay lifestyle and did it in a humorous way where he wasn't trying to shove the gay community in people's faces. Now, why the hell would somebody call me now? um, he wasn't trying to like shove the gay lifestyle in people's faces. He was trying to make it something of a what the hell's going on? Yeah, that's not happening. He was trying to make it something of a humor. He wanted people to be welcomed into the community. He wanted us to be welcomed into that community as opposed to that community welcoming gay people. And I think that's a brilliant approach because he did it through humor. He did it through extremely funny things. A lot of his movies, one of my favorite movies that he did is called Pink Flamingos. Another one, a more famous one that most people know about is Hairspray. He did direct Hairspray. That's the original with Ricky Lake. Very good movie. Very, very off the wall, very campy. He probably coined the word campy, which is a very, very gay word, right? They used to call these movies the trash trilogy. Pink Flamingos, Female Trouble, and Desperate Living. Desperate Living is basically like the very first bosom buddies, but like to like an extreme level, where these gay guys actually had to move into a woman home because they had no place to go. And yeah, it's pretty interesting, pretty fun movie. But yeah, Hairspray came out in '88. He also did Cry Baby with Johnny Depp, which came out in 1990. So he's very, 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 very famous. Cultly, he's a culturally famous person if you are in the cultures that he's in. But I do believe that a lot of people do know who he is, to be honest. But yeah, honestly, I didn't know that. Well, now you know. That's why I'm here. Now you know. Sweet. Yay. Yeah. Before we actually super start, because again, like I said, this is going to be kind of a case study. I just want to kind of define two things, two definitions. The first one is going to be homophobia, since this episode is about Homer's phobia. Homophobia, the prejudice, dislike, or fear of people in the LGBTQ community. Another one is, good Lord, why does everybody want to talk to me right now? Please just stop. Nobody ever wants to talk to me, but now people, okay. Okay, first one, homophobia, the prejudice, dislike, or fear of people in the LGBTQ community. I know, it's totally gay, like me alone. Other one is anxiety. Anxiety, which is the fear of the unknown. And there's a really important reason why I want to bring the definition of both of those in, because I think a lot of this episode ties into all of that. Homer's fear of the unknown, really. And again, not to excuse his behavior in this episode, just to point out um, just to point out what it was like trying to put ourselves, if you just close your eyes, put ourselves in his shoes in the 1990s. This is right after the Archie Bunker era, right after it was okay to basically say anything you want, but it was not yet okay to be gay. You know what I mean? So even in the mid 90s, like this being gay and being okay and everybody being okay, it happened fairly recently and it just took off. It just went on a fast track. So that's where we're at today. And a lot of kids, and by kids, I mean like people maybe between the ages of, let's say, 18 to 30 even, probably didn't really grow up in an era where they had to hide themselves or hide their sexuality or hide their identities. In fact, you are encouraged now to have an identity, to tell everyone your identity. So things are a lot different, a hell of a lot different than they were back then. Um, so the beginning of the episode starts with the family going on an outing. They take a trip to the mall and they run into this shop called, hold on, I got a commercial. They run into this shop called cockamamie's, of all things, right? Like the name alone probably should have given it away. But yeah, they run into this shop called cockamamie's. It's kind of a knickknack shop. It has a lot of odds and ends, a lot of like antique stuff, a lot of like niche things that you'd probably find at a thrift store. You'd probably find, like I said, at an antique shop, maybe at a comic book store, something like a Spencer's. And the Simpsons were just browsing. They were enjoying themselves, looking at all the knickknacks. And in comes John, the owner of the shop. John absolutely is fascinated with the Simpsons family as they walk in because he's just mesmerized by the Americana feel that they have about them. He even points it out. The loving wife, the two and a half kids, like he's just super like in love with all of it. Like just the idea of them being a standard American family. He's absolutely like just going gaga over it. So they actually hit it off, and the Simpsons end up inviting John to their house to have dinner, and they end up actually having an extremely wonderful time. Not only, and it's interesting because not only are they having a really good time with John, they're actually trying their best to impress him. They want to make a good impression on this person. I do have a clip for you guys, not a long one, but I do have a clip of a piece of this episode that I want to share with you guys, just to give you a feel as to what it was like in the household in this episode on that day. So here they are in the shop with John. Again, you can see all the knickknacks there. You can see the Gundam. There's actually a Gundam. Holy crap. There's a Gundam in the background. For some reason, there's in that Flanders cowboy clock. Yeah, you can see all the knickknacks in the shop. So they end up inviting him over to the house. And this is what ensues. Hopefully you guys can hear it and see it.
Tom?
Oh, Homer, you are the living end. Oh.
I love that. I love John's. It's like, it's like, how did Homer not know? To me, it's like, okay, but so yeah, so I thought that was pretty cute. I thought that was pretty funny. So yeah, so the next morning, Homer actually is talking to Marge, and he's like super like involved, and he's excited. He's like, man, that John, man, he was such a good guy, good hangout. That was so much fun. Blah blah blah. And Marge is like, yeah, he actually like enjoys the company of man, Homer. Oh, that's how it starts. Homer says, man, next time we should actually invite his wife over. And Marge is like, oh, just so you know, like he actually prefers the company of men. And Homer's like, yeah, of course, who doesn't? So like it takes him a minute. It takes him a while to actually figure out what exactly is going on. Yeah, I have a few more. Hey, were you able to hear the clip, by the way? Were you able to hear it? I know there's like that gray thing blocking. I'm not sure how to get rid of that. But let me know if you were able to actually hear it and it sounded good. But yeah, so the next morning they wake up and Homer is absolutely adamant. Like, I'm not hanging out with him. And Marge is like, well, we're going out. Like, he invited us out. We're going to go with him. So they do. They end up having a really good time with John out and about, and Homer ends up avoiding him for that time being. Well, Homer ends up confronting John after avoiding him for however long it was. He didn't appreciate the fact that John hid the fact that he was gay. He kept even reiterating, "I don't care that he's gay. I just wish he would have told us." You know what I mean? Trying to like almost justify his behavior, almost justify how um how much of an asshole he was being towards John. And John did nothing gay per se. He did nothing but be himself. So yeah, and see, and I think that's the one thing that wasn't caught by Homer, is that he was gay because he was just being himself, and Homer appreciated that about him. This is a fun guy acting like himself, and I that's something that Homer and Bart both can appreciate about something about John. So you know what? Let's talk about Bart real quick. Um, Bart was actually pretty infatuated with John too. Um, Wait, is this the same episode where Homer takes Bart? Yes, it is. I'm about to get there actually. So Bart is actually very infatuated by John. He sees him as a funny, outgoing, happy fellow with a cool sense of humor. So Bart starts emulating him. He starts singing like Donna Summer, and he starts like he put on a wig that he found at Marge's place because he understands it as camp. He understands it as dress up, as something that was somewhat offhandedly encouraged by John, but not not in a sense where it's like, I need you to put this wig on type thing. More in a sense that Bart just admires him. He admires seeing an adult that's having a good time and being happy with their life. Now we have to understand, Bart is coming from a place of two parents, both work differently. Marge is a stay-at-home mom. Homer works at the power plant. Um, so I think Bart sees more stressful moments in his parents than he sees these happy moments. These moments where they're having a good time and they're laughing and they're having a moment of fun with their kids. So I think that's the bigger influence when it comes to Bart. So yeah, Homer Homer ends up fearing that Bart is being a little bit too influenced by John. So he ends up um what's next? Here we go. I think I'm going too fast. I'm gonna play this one for you guys. This is where Homer actually finds out he's gay.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god, I danced with a gay. Marge, Lisa, promise me you won't tell anyone. Promise me.
You're being ridiculous.
Am I, Marge? Am I? Think of the property values. Now we can never say only straight people have been in this house.
I'm very sorry you feel that way, because John invited us all out for a drive today, and we're going.
Whoa, not me.
Now he can only say he can't say only straight people have been in his house. Like, that's ridiculous. And I mean, Marge is right. He was actually being ridiculous. Um, but see, I think that just goes back to the times. Let's do that actually. The gays and the 1990s. And that time, this episode came out in the year 1997. There goes my notes. Alan, hold on. Let me grab this. Hold on. Alan at the time had just come out as gay. Roseanne, there was an episode of Roseanne where Aunt Lori came out as gay. Yeah, it wasn't a thing yet. It wasn't exactly a thing yet to popularize or to normalize at all the idea of man and man, woman and woman. For me personally, John Waters was the very first person I ever seen on TV as gay, to be honest. Um, it could have been Aunt Lori from Roseanne, actually, but it didn't click with me at the time. With John Waters was different. Yeah, that definitely clicked with me. Yeah, it was an interesting time in the 90s because we didn't it was uh It was come hell or high water. Like it was just a time where it's like you're either going to get on a bandwagon or you're going to get left behind. And it was uh right before Y2K. So everybody knew Y2K was coming around. What's going to happen in the year 2000? Again, there was a whole lot of things that said, hey, you grab my hand and you come with me or you're going to be left behind. So everything was moving quickly. Everything was progressing quickly, to the point where uh, uh, the right wing, or I guess you could say the conservatives, the Christians, myself being growing up in a private school and being a Christian, ended up in an environment where it was the exact opposite, where it was not ever going to be okay to be gay, where we celebrated things like family pride simply because the gays were having their gay pride days. I remember back when I was in elementary and junior high, um, when gay pride would happen in my city, which was in Long Beach. Huge. It's one of the biggest gay pride parades in the nation, actually. Our church, that's very same day, would do Family Pride Sunday, just to like stick it to the gays. So, man, it was a big deal. Being gay was, a lot of people fought hard for the unacceptance and being able to tell gays, nope, go away, hide away. We do not want you. We do not want this normalized. With that, again, came a lot of rebellion personally. Hi, Pac. How are you? A lot of that was a lot of rebellion and a lot of questions personally on my part. I didn't question my sexuality until I got into high school, well into high school. And I just remember being bullied because one, I was super good at basketball, and at the time, I was really, really good. I was one of the biggest girls in the school. All the girls were tiny little white kids or really really skinny tall black girls. You know what I mean? So I was the only like hefty Mexican girl, and I had the lumberjack look and whatnot, especially for the 90s. If you look in the 90s, Britney Spears was a size 0, Christina Aguilera was a size 0, Queen Latifah was considered fat. You know what I mean? Like, and if we look at Queen Latifah now, back then, it's like, oh my gosh, she wasn't fat at all. So it's really weird how times were different back then than they are now. So I constantly got bullied. You're gay, you're a lesbian, nobody wants to be in the locker room with you because you're probably going to watch us change. I remember hearing that all the time. And honestly, with that, a lot came into question when it came to my sexuality. Like, am I gay? Are they right? Like, is this what gay is? Is gay being big? Is gay being like, you know what I mean? Like, when you don't know, you have to ask. And I think that's exactly what was going on with Homer. When you don't know, you have to ask. And he didn't do any of the asking. He just did a lot of assuming. And with the assuming came a lot of bullying. So anyway, so that was gay, being gay in the 90s. That was being gay in the 90s. So Homer ends up deciding, let me see if I can actually convince my son, to be more of a man. So he ends up taking Bart to a steel mill. He tries to show Bart the manliest of men. The most manly thing men can do is work with metal and burn their arms and burn their, you know what I mean? Like just the manliest shit you think you can think of. He ends up taking Bart to a gay steel mill. This is one of the most classic scenes in Simpsons history by far, like by far. Okay. He takes him to the steel mill. They're walking around. Some of them have their shirts off, as you can see there. Some of them have their shirts like halfway off. There's one who's carrying a whole molten metal pot, and he literally says, "Hot stuff coming through." And it's so funny. And Homer actually realizes, wait a minute, this is a gay steel mill. And then I think Homer insults them. I forgot what he says. Something about why can't you people hide away? I forget what he says. But one of the steel mill fellas says, "Oh, be nice." And it's just hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. Honestly, one of the best gayest scenes in The Simpsons. Hot stuff coming through. And it's so funny. It's funny, but at the same time, it's really, really uncomfortable how much Homer is die hard trying to make his son not gay. it would be weird today, actually. And what makes it controversial to me is today, what makes it controversial to me today is this is a grooming. You are grooming your child to be a certain way. You know what I mean? Like, that's not our responsibility as parents. Our responsibility as parents is to watch our children grow, make sure they don't hurt themselves, make sure they're kind, make sure they do right by others. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much our job. What they do when they grow up, how they decide to grow up, how they decide to live is up to them. And we just have to cross our fingers that they know what's best for them. That's really all we can hope for. So in a sense, Homer is trying to groom his son into being a straight guy without even knowing if he's gay because he's never asked. So it's just an interesting freak out that Homer has about this whole thing. um Eventually, and towards the end of the episode, um Homer ends up talking to his friends. He talks to Barney, he talks to Mo. He ends up asking them, what do I do? I'm pretty sure my son's gay. What do I do? And oh, let's go back real quick. So there's actually another scene. I don't have it here, but there's actually another scene where Homer takes Bart and he puts him right in the middle of the road, like road's going this way, road's going this way, and he puts him right in the middle in the center divider. And there's a billboard with a hot chick, and she has big boobs, and she's like smoking a cigarette. And then Homer has him sit there like for hours and hours. Homer goes back, talks to Bart, and he asks him, "Okay, how you feel now, son?" And Bart's like, "I don't know. I kind of want a cigarette." And it's hilarious. And Homer accepts it. He's like, "Oh my God, okay, what kind?" Like, he accepts it as like that's the man. Like, if that's as manly as it gets, then I'll take it. It's just so terrible. It's just really bad. It's really bad. What about when TMO demons want to have a three-way with Homer? See, the part where they go hunting is going to be next. Yeah, that's going to be next. So, like I was saying, he ends up talking to Barney. He ends up talking to Mo, and he ends up asking them, actually, what do I do? Like, he's still pretty gay. So what do I do? Like, how do I change his gay? So Barney has the bright idea of taking Bart hunting. Hunting's a manly sport. Let's do that and see what happens then. He even tells him, and I quote, shooting a pretty deer is kind of like shooting a gay man. Oh my God, that's just terrible. I hope I don't get canceled for any of this. Yeah, so yeah, shut up, Tony. So he does. He does end up taking him hunting. While they're on their hunting trip, um, Homer ends up putting himself in a position where he's in danger. I think Bart is knocked out. He gets knocked out by one of the deer that they're trying to hunt because the deer end up herding themselves around Bart, Mo, Barney, and Homer. So they like make a circle around them. Bart's already knocked out because one of the deers buck him. And here comes John. Here comes John to save the day. Somehow he has the most perfect comedic, cartoonish timing. He ends up throwing one of his niche products that he sells at his shop, which is a Japanese Santa. He ends up throwing him towards the deer. The deer end up getting startled, and thus that saves the day. So Homer's all beat up. He has all kinds of bruises and black eyes and all kinds of stuff because the deer beat his ass beforehand. And honestly, Homer deserves the beating. Homer deserved a big wake-up call. And here is John's reaction to saving Homer's life.
John.
Well, Homer, I won your respect, and all I had to do was save your life. Now, if every gay man could just do the same, you'd be set.
Amen to that.
And it's really funny because John's obviously being sarcastic, right? He's obviously making some sort of light-hearted joke about it. But it all goes back to show how great of an attitude John actually had about the entire situation. John came from a place of understanding that, it's not our time yet. It's not our time yet. It's not our time for us to be seen as much as we want to be seen. And I think that was kind of a thing back then where the gays needed to be seen, but that looking back on it now, it's not nearly as prominent as it is now. And the truth is, I don't think the gays really want to be seen now. I think they just want to live their lives. And I think that's all they really wanted back then, but they wanted to be accepted doing it back then, which made the biggest difference. And honestly, attitude is everything. John's attitude remained humble this entire time. He remained having a good-hearted attitude. He understood where Homer was coming from to a point, but also made sure he was able to make fun of it. Now, if only every gay man can save a straight man's life, then maybe we'd be more accepted, basically, right? Is what he's saying. Sarcastically, of course. But it really just goes back to show the ignorance of Homer Simpson. I don't think Homer was coming from a place of homophobia. I personally do not, and in fact, you'll find out in later episodes, Homer, you'll find back in later episodes, Homer, he actually ends up kissing a gay dude. He ends up trying to be gay. He doesn't really understand what the big fuss was about. Like, he completely does a 180 on the entire situation. But for this particular episode itself, I don't think Homer was hating. I don't think he hated John because he was gay. I think Homer didn't know. I think Homer was afraid. I think he was afraid of his reputation being ruined. I think he was afraid of the unknown, which brings in the anxiety part. And I think he was afraid of failing as a parent. There is actually another scene where Homer and Moe are in the car together, and they're talking about Bart. And then they mention something. I tried that and it didn't work. But Moe's like, well, if all else fails, you can take Lisa hunting. And Homer's like, I can't. She's a vegan or she's a vegetarian. And Moe is just absolutely disappointed. He's like, oh my God, Homer, like, what the hell have you been doing with these kids, basically? And I think that was a big part of it too. I think Homer was afraid of failure. Homer, in a sense, was probably afraid of having a gay child, which probably not so much now. But again, there are still parents who probably have that as their biggest fear when it comes to their children. But again, remember, in 1997, that was an even bigger, more prominent fear because, yeah, the gays were coming. The gays were coming. So let's go to the next slide. I wish this gray box wasn't here. I'm not really sure how to get rid of it. Next time, I'll figure out a better way to record it. But let's go.
You know, Bart, maybe it's just a concussion talking. But any way you choose to live your life is okay with me.
Huh? He thinks you're gay. He thinks I'm gay?
I can't play the whole song because of copyright. So I had to cut the clip there. But yeah, I mean, by the way, that song is in the episode, like almost throughout the whole episode. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty good song. All right, let me go to chat real quick before we end the episode. You relate to this episode a lot? Why? Are you gay? It's okay to be gay. That's what this whole thing's about. It's okay to be gay. But yeah, this is kind of just an introduction to the asshole things Homer has done. And he's done way, way worse things than this. A hell of a lot worse things than being a surface homophobe. Because he didn't remain on the surface with his homophobia. He decided, I'm going to change it almost immediately, which I really liked about this episode. It actually was ahead of its time, considering. This episode absolutely was ahead of its time. I love this. Again, one of my favorites. He thinks I'm gay? Oh, thank you, Packy. Frisky Jesus, hello, sir. It's good to see you. Thank you, Packy. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun, you guys. I had so much fun with you. If you guys have anything to add, any opinions, any questions, any opinions, really, like, let me know. Like it's not easy to be a parent, and think that your biggest fears when it comes to your children are happening. And is it trivial to raise a gay child? No, It's not trivial to raise any child, really. It's part of what we have to do. Now, again, not to be cliche, there is no handbook on raising children, because they're all different. Now, one of my kids is the same. If they were, I'd be bored as hell. But no kid is the same. Every single one of them has to be raised differently, with a gentle hand, with an understanding, a different conformed understanding to their being for their well-being. And I think that was something that Homer doesn't till this day understand as a character. If he was really a dad, if he was a dad in real life, if he was standing here next to me, he'd be a terrible father, neglecting Bart until it was time to control him, basically. Which again goes back to the idea that Bart was absolutely fascinated and infatuated with John, not because Bart's gay, not because John's gay, but because John was a male figure that was paying attention to him and was happy to do so. So, these are all the things that we kind of have to form. It's like an octagon. Like every line in our octagon has some sort of reason for why we say stop, right? So that's kind of where I'm coming from with this when it comes to Homer. As much as a controversial topic this was at the time, it's really not so much now. Be gay, be you, be straight, be bi, be all of it. But at the same time, like, we have to understand that there are certain parents that are not going to be comfortable right away sitting in those shoes. I'm the parent of a gay child. I'm the parent of a lesbian child. I'm the parent of a trans child. We're not comfortable sitting in those shoes just yet. And nobody knows exactly how long it'll take. But I think this episode, Homer's Phobia, is one of the very first pioneering pieces of TV and culture and pulp culture that actually helped us be a little bit more comfortable in those shoes. So there's that. Anybody in the chat got something to say? Okay. Well, that was really fun. That was really fun. If you guys just got here, I'm gonna re-upload the episode to YouTube. You can always watch the whole thing. It is gonna be there. I had a lot of fun. It wasn't that hard to do, and I'm gonna get better at doing it. So if you really like this episode, do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel on Twitch, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and hit the notification bell. That way it's easier for me to find you guys and easier for you guys to find me. That way it just pops up on your thing. You just click yes, let's go watch it. And then there's that. It's really hard to post links and be live at the same time. So a lot of times I don't get to do that. But yeah, let me close this window here. How do I do that? And there we go. Okay. So that was a lot of fun. I had so much fun with you guys. Thank you. The next episode will be coming out next Tuesday. I have not confirmed whether I'm going to have a guest for that episode, but it will be another deep dive into another Simpsons episode involving Homer being a douche. So if you guys like this one, I'm pretty positive you're going to like the next one. So again, once again, have a wonderful night. Thank you guys for joining. Welcome back. Welcome back. Tootie's Toy Box is back, and I'm so excited. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you soon. Bye.